Lord Krishna outwits Brahma. One day, Lord Krishna was in the meadows with his cowherd friends and their calves. They were playing pranks on one another, and the calves slipped away into the forest. "Where are our calves?" one of the cowherds suddenly exclaimed. Lord Krishna said, "Dear friends, do not worry. I will go and look for the calves." While he was searching for the calves, Brahma, the god of creation, decided to play a trick on them. He put the cowherds into a deep sleep and transported them along with the calves into a cave. When Lord Krishna returned, he realized at once what had happened. So he created the cowherds and the calves from his multiple selves and took them home. Brahma went to Vrindavan gleefully to see the result of his trick, and he was amazed to see the cowherds and the calves with Lord Krishna. When Lord Krishna revealed what he had done, Brahma started to see multiple figures of him instead of the cows and the cowherds. Agasura becomes angry. Aga was a mighty demon. Even the denizens of heaven were afraid of him. Lord Krishna had destroyed Bakasura and Putana. Agasura was their younger brother and he was thirsting for revenge. So Kansa fueled the fire of revenge further by encouraging Agasura to kill Krishna. "Krishna killed your sister Putana in the most pitiless manner. Do you know how much pain she must have suffered?" said Kansa. Agasura became enraged to hear this. "And do not forget your brother Bakasura, who attacked Lord Krishna in the form of a crane. Krishna destroyed him as well," evil Kansa added. By now, the grieving demon could not control his anger. "I swear to avenge the death of my brother and sister," Agasura vowed. Evil Kansa smiled. His purpose had been served. Agasura would now aim for revenge. Kansa hoped the demon would succeed in killing Krishna. Agasura becomes a mighty serpent. Aga, the demon, planned to kill Lord Krishna, so he learnt a black magic spell called Mahima Siddhi for changing forms. Having attained Mahima Siddhi, Agasura changed himself into a massive 8-mile-long serpent with a mouth as large as a mountain-sized cave. Then he lay in wait for the cowherds on their usual route. When the cowherds returned from another excursion led by Lord Krishna, they saw the mighty serpent and sobbed. Agasura lay with his mouth open on their path so that they might not escape him. "What could that be? Is it a cave?" asked the cowherd, even as the others stared. After some discussion, the cowherd entered the serpent's mouth. They knew that if they faced any problem, Lord Krishna would save them. Lord Krishna knew that the mighty serpent was a demon. However, as he stood thinking, he saw his friends walking into the mouth of the serpent. Lord Krishna and Agasura. Lord Krishna planned to defeat evil Agasura, who had assumed the shape of a serpent and swallowed the cowherds. "Evil Agasura wants to kill me as well, so I shall walk into his mouth and destroy him instead," decided Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna walked into Agasura's mouth. Seeing this, the gods cried in despair, thinking that Lord Krishna was now finished. The demons cheered happily as they thought that Agasura had now won. Just then, Lord Krishna began to suffocate Agasura from within his throat. Agasura began to feel dazed. He was unable to breathe and soon he suffocated to death. After the demon had died, Lord Krishna and the cowherds came out of the demon's mouth unharmed. "Krishna, we knew that you would save us," said the cowherd joyfully. Lord Krishna was happy to see that the cowherds were safe. Agasura's soul submits to Lord Krishna. When demon's Aga was killed by Lord Krishna, his soul underwent a transformation. This younger brother of Bakasura and Putana, who had wanted to kill the cowherds as well as Lord Krishna, met his end while he was still inside the demon's body. Due to this reason, the evil soul of Agasura was purified. As the demigods and the gods watched, the soul changed into a dazzling light and submitted to Lord Krishna. The light bowed before Lord in reverence. Such is Lord Krishna's divine radiance that even the evil demon wants to submit to him, exclaimed the gods as they cheered his latest victory. They showered flower petals on Lord Krishna and worshipped him even as the denizens of the heavens danced in joy. They recited Vedic religious hymns. Thus, with the death of this evil demon, both heaven and earth rejoiced with happiness and joy. Lord Brahma exalts. Lord Brahma, the god of creation, witnessed how Lord Krishna had killed Agasura effortlessly. Lord Krishna's triumph was praised by all. Lord Brahma said to Indra, "Look at the power of the Lord in his eighth incarnation. Not only has he destroyed an evil demon who was tormenting thousands of people and causing bloodshed and mayhem on earth, he has also shown mercy. The soul of the evil demon was purified because Lord Krishna himself destroyed the monster. All of the heavens watched as the evil demon's soul submitted to the glory of Lord Krishna. The people of Vrindavan were also happy. Whenever Lord Krishna can kill such evil demon at such a tender age, imagine his glory when he comes of age." They all said. The end of evil Kansa was now certain, for all his demons had failed to kill Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna kills Masura. However, Kansa did not give up on his evil plans to kill Lord Krishna. He sent Masura, the son of the demon chief Masura, for destroying Lord Krishna. Masura changed himself into a cowherd and joined Lord Krishna's group that was playing hide and seek. He carried some of the cowherds from the hiding place to a cave. Now Krishna will come in search of his friends. I must surprise him and destroy him, plotted evil Masura. As soon as he noticed that his friends were missing, Lord Krishna arrived at the cave. Masura was waiting for him. "I am the son of the demon chief Masura himself, and I will tear you from limb to limb," threatened the evil demon. The demon changed into a massive mountain and tried to crush Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna handled him with mighty blow and destroyed him. The cowherds cheered yet another victory of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna rescues Nanda. Lord Krishna dealt with demons as well as gods. Once, his father Nanda went to bathe in river Yamuna. There, the water god kidnapped Nanda and took him to the underwater palace of Varunadev. The palace was huge and all types of sea creatures dwelt there. Nanda was imprisoned within the palace. "My father has not returned yet. I must see what has happened to him," thought Lord Krishna. He arrived at the banks of river Yamuna and divined what had happened. When Lord Krishna arrived at Varunadev's palace, his divine light blinded all the sea creatures. Varunadev immediately touched his feet and said, "Lord Krishna, I am so happy to receive this honor. Those who touch your feet receive freedom from the cycle of birth and death, moksha." Varunadev also apologized for his evil ways and for the water god who had abducted Nanda. Lord Krishna blessed Varunadev and returned to Vrindavan with Nanda. Radha is cursed. As they grew up, Lord Krishna and Radha became very close friends. However, once Radha grew jealous that Lord Krishna talked to a gopi named Sridhama. Lord Krishna was sitting with his friend Sridhama when Radha rushed towards them. Seeing her anger, Sridhama exclaimed, "Radha, don't insult my lord or I will curse you." Hearing this, Radha grew angrier and heatedly said, "I curse you, Sridhama. You shall be born in a poor family in your next life and face many hardships." Angered beyond reason, Sridhama said, "Radha, I curse you to 100 years of separation from my lord." Hearing this, Radha trembled and started crying. Even as Lord Krishna consoled Radha, his heart grew heavy with grief at her suffering. Also, he knew that both the curses would come true, and he felt deep pain for both Radha and Sridhama, whom he loved dearly. Vrindavan fears Arishta. Some time later, Kansa again sent an evil demon, Arishta, to Vrindavan to kill Lord Krishna. "I will kill you, Krishna. Consider me your deliverer," the wild bull demon thought as he entered Vrindavan. Arishta's eyes glowed with angry red light, with his mighty hooves thudded on the floor as he charged ahead. The demon was so large that he seemed to block out the sun. It was impossible to climb on him because of his huge size. He moved with such speed that he could be in two different places in no time at all. Such negative energy came from him that all the birds and animals fell silent as they saw the evil demon. Arishta moved his massive head as he combed through the crowds looking for Lord Krishna. The people of Vrindavan saw the bull demon and shouted in fear, "A mighty evil demon with his ugly fiendish ways is attacking us. Help us, Lord Krishna." Lord Krishna slays Arishta. As Arishta looked around for Lord Krishna, he came and stood a little away from him. Arishta glared at Lord Krishna. "So, you have shown yourself at last," taunted the evil demon. "I am so powerful that I have killed not only calves but also mighty sages. Do you think you are a match for me?" Lord Krishna smiled calmly as he saw the bull-shaped demon ready to attack. Just then, Lord Krishna clapped his hands. Hearing this, the bull demon became angry and ran with horns lowered towards Lord Krishna. As the bull demon neared him, Lord Krishna tore one of his horns and slashed Arishta with it. Then Lord Krishna hit Arishta with a deadly blow. The bull demon lay dead at Lord Krishna's feet. The people of Vrindavan cheered loudly when they saw this. Their joy knew no bounds as they worshipped and praised Lord Krishna. Narad stirs trouble. Narad, the mischievous celestial sage, had been watching the events at Vrindavan with interest for some time now. He was a troublemaker who would often spread stories and tell tales to create problems where there was none. How I would love to tease Kansa with the latest exploits of Lord Krishna. If I do so, it will surely enrage evil Kansa and lead to some trouble, thought Narad gleefully. "Alak Niranjan!" Narad called out his greeting as he reached Kansa's palace. He then narrated Lord Krishna's exploits before evil Kansa. "Narad, you have opened my eyes. Krishna and Balram are more dangerous than I had thought. I must kill both of them before they become adults," said Kansa. The evil demon ruler started plotting how to kill Lord Krishna and Balram. He knew that he must destroy them or lose his life. After so many warnings from all, Kansa's nerves were frayed as he feared his end at the hands of Lord Krishna. Chanura and Mushtika. Fueled by Narad's instigation, Kansa got worried day and night. How can I destroy Krishna and Balram? One day he finally thought of a plan. "Guards, summon the strong wrestlers, Chanura and Mushtika, before me," thundered evil Kansa as he sat on his throne. When the two wrestlers arrived, they fell at his feet to greet him. Both the wrestlers were so tall that even the most massive pillars of the palace looked dwarf-like next to them. Their arms were so strong and sinewy that rocks could be crushed into fine powder by them. "How may we serve you, King Kansa?" queried the two wrestlers in unison. "Kill Krishna and Balram in a wrestling match," ordered evil Kansa. He then explained the plan to them. The two wrestlers prepared to kill Lord Krishna and Balram. They were unaware that they were about to meet with their own end instead. Kansa lays the trap. Kansa arranged for a yajna, fire ceremony, where offerings would be made to the fire god. On this occasion, he planned to hold the wrestling match between Krishna, Balram, and the two wrestlers. Kansa sent his associate Agasura to bring Krishna and Balram to Mathura. "This will not be enough to destroy them. I must make other plans," thought evil Kansa. So he sent an Asura demon called Keshi to destroy the two brothers in Vrindavan itself. Alongside, he planned to release a huge elephant called Kubbalayapida in the arena. If one plan does not succeed, another will. Now I have nothing to fear about. If Keshi does not manage to kill them, surely Chandra and Mushtika will. Failing that, elephant Kubbalayapida will kill them. I am safe. Foolish Kansa did not know that his end was near. Lord Krishna kills Keshi. When the horse-shaped demon Keshi arrived at Vrindavan to kill Lord Krishna, all the cowherds shivered in fright. He ripped the earth with his hooves and even attacked the Surya and the Chandrama. "Do not fear, as I am here," said Lord Krishna. Keshi heard this and stormed fitfully. "I will kill you and punish the people of Vrindavan." His massive hoofs thudded the ground as he charged ahead in utter rage. Lord Krishna ripped Keshi into two and destroyed him, because of which he is also known as Keshva. Akrura arrived soon after and informed Krishna and Balram that they had been invited to Mathura. Nanda, Yashoda, the gopis and the cowherds wept with grief as they bade Lord Krishna goodbye. Radha too cried out in pain at the parting. Balram and Lord Krishna also felt deep grief as they climbed into the chariot with Akrura and left for Mathura.
Thanks for watching. Do like, share, subscribe to Sahil Book House.